at least 3 types of major sicknesses in the world. 3 types of sicknesses. And we can all talk about the first one easy is the body. We know when we're sick in the body. I had COVID a couple of weeks ago. It put me down for a week. I felt miserable. Sickness of the body, that one's pretty easy to identify. We have sin sickness. And that one's just as bad. It can just make you feel downright horrible. You're constantly doing the wrong things. You know you should be right. Paul says, he feels that fight within him. Sin sickness needs to be healed. But guys, we also have not only spiritual sickness, physical sickness. We have a lot of mental sickness. In the church, we have a time that we want to ignore that. We want to say, oh, it's this, it's that. You just change the way you think. My wife struggles with depression and anxiety. I mean, I've watched her become absolutely crippled through anxiety. Not want to leave the house, want to cry, and just can't function. We prayed together. I prayed for her. She loves Jesus. She was raised. She is saved. She is sanctified. She has an illness that struggles with anxiety. For a long time, because she was in the church, she didn't want to go get help. Because she said, well, I just lack of faith. And she's really struggled with anxiety and it caused depression issues. At one point, she thought she was just going to end her life. She couldn't live that way. She said she felt like she had a harvest of bees living inside of her all the time. She just couldn't get rid of it. So she went to therapy. Therapy wasn't a whole lot, but they prescribed a very, very, very low dose of medication. She took it. Within a couple of days, she said she felt like a whole different person. She was healed. And she still has that struggle. But a lot of times church people will be like, they should have just prayed harder for her. Why is she going to go take medicine for a mental? Look, we can have mental illness today. If you don't believe it, look at our world. Do we know what causes it? Do we know it's true? We don't. Do we know that demons can cause a lot of it? Absolutely. Demon oppression is real. But do we know sometimes our bodies just aren't working quite right? That's true too. The church today, when I talk about we've matured in divine healing, I say that to some degree. If somebody came in here right now with a broken leg, and you saw it was broken, we as a church would just pray for them as we're taking them to the hospital. Because we know, hey, your leg's broken, I'm going to pray for you, but we got to get that thing fixed. But so many times people come in our church and struggle with depression, or they're struggling with some type of mental illness in some way that's absolutely right. And we just say, toughen up. I'll pray for you. Why don't we have the same response? Because we can't see it? Because it's not outward but inward? We need to mature in our understanding that sometimes there's going to be mental illness that approaches us too. And we can pray. Sometimes God will deliver them. I've seen people come to an altar who had struggles. They were on medication for 4 or 5 different mental illnesses. Pray at the altar, get up, and not need any of them again. Then I also have a devout wife who's devout to God. If anybody would want to argue that with me, we would fight. I've watched her. She's devout to God, devout to Jesus, loves Jesus, but she struggled. I've seen it personally. And some of you guys probably have family members growing in the day and age. Have family members who are struggling with it. And it's not because of their lack of faith. Because you know what? Sometimes things are just broken. And we need to be mature enough as Christians to know divine healing can come in more than one way. And we praise God for however we're doing. Anybody else have any questions, comments on the Bible?